The season is drawing to a close as we rally around all that is Cardinal athletics. Make sure you celebrate right as we chalk up and bring you all the very best highlights. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. Did you chalk up tonight yet?
I'm hoping we can chalk up a successful show.
I think we will.
We're getting down to the nitty-gritty
We are.
of the winter season. We got some section tournaments to talk about. A couple of other teams getting ready for sections later this week and into next week. The next month is always a lot of fun as we get into postseason time.
No question.
No question. Well, boys hockey team finished their regular season Monday of last week on the road down in the south end of town, taking on Simley. They win 6-4 with an empty net goal. Trenton Tyson and Tyler Barsness each had 3 points in the game. Golan had a goal and an assist. Bush and Alphen each had 2 assists. Rising and Espinoza each knotted a goal for the Cardinals. In the win, they finished 11, 12, and 2. And the voting has been done.
Yes.
The Cardinals will be the number 5 seed going up, unfortunately, to Cloquet Esco Carleton on Tuesday to start the playoffs a little further than our cords will reach. And so we wish the Cardinals the best of luck. Should they return to the Twin Cities for a semifinal game, perhaps we would be able to cover that one. But Duluth East getting the number 1 seed. They host Blaine in the quarterfinal round, and over the number 2 seed gets Duluth Marshall in the quarterfinal round. Duluth Marshall and Blaine both winning in the play-in games over the weekend. Forest Lake is the number 6 seed going to number 3. Grand Rapids. Sorry, Coon Rapids was 5 going to the 4.
4, correct.
Correct. Well, Tuesday was Valentine's Day, and the girls hockey team had a date with top-seeded Maple Grove in the section semifinals. The Crimson ended the Bluebirds' season last year with a 6-1 win in the semis. They also won the regular season matchup this year by a 4-2 score. They were clearly favored, but the Bluebirds were confident they could skate with them and maybe even pull off an upset. Maple Grove's Miss Hockey nominee wastes no time getting her team the lead. Stella Retram able to walk in and put a backhander on the shelf just 32 seconds into the game. She wasn't done on the opening shift. Poke check by Bella Shipley causes a turnover. Ella Olsen gets it to Retram out front. She fires a wrister past Wastrel. Maple Grove is up 2-0 less than a minute into the game. Bluebirds able to answer pretty quickly. Kylie Scott wins the puck battle at center ice, throws a long shot in on goal. It finds a hole under the arm of Danny Strom, and it's back to a 1-goal game still early in the first. Crimson able to reestablish that 2-goal lead late in the period. Good hold at the line. Retram passes it cross ice to Kelsey Olsen for a one-timer. Maple Grove up 3-1 after 1. There was no scoring in the second, but there were chances both ways. Great effort by Sydney Bertovic, forcing her way through the neutral zone and getting in alone, but Strom able to hold strong, and it's 3-1 going to the third. CPCR brings the pressure in the final period and finally pays off. Strom able to make a couple of stops in this scrum, but Emma Olsen finally able to finish at the back of the net, and it's back to a 1-goal game with 7 minutes left. Maple Grove back on their heels, but they get a lucky bounce with less than 5 minutes left. Ella Olsen throws it in on net. It takes a funny hop past Wastrel. Crimson has some insurance once again. Bluebirds continue to fight. Kylie Scott gets her second of the game with a strong wrister from the point past the traffic. That keeps hopes alive. Just over a minute left at that point, but they could not find the equalizer, and for the second straight year, the Bluebirds season ends with a loss to Maple Grove in the semifinal.
Yeah, tough 4-3 loss for the Bluebirds, definitely. I checked in and out of that game. In fact, when I had it on and I walked away from it and I walked back to the screen, it was 2-0. I couldn't believe it that it was that quick for Maple Grove.
And take away the first minute of the game when Maple Grove scores 2 goals, and it's a different contest, and just a really weird hop at an unfortunate time for the Cardinal keeper. The Cardinals the Bluebirds rather did get kind of a fortunate bounce. Danny Strom is an exceptional goaltender for Maple Grove, and that first goal by Kylie Scott just leaked through somehow. She doesn't give up a lot like that. But unfortunate, but it would have been a lot of fun to see them face off against Centennial Spring Lake Park for a third time this year after splitting the season series with them. The Cougars able to upset Maple Grove 2-1 in the section finals, so they will represent Section 5 AA at the state tournament starting on Thursday.
Very
and
nice.
We wish them luck.
We do.
Lauren O'Hara, the Miss Hockey nominee for Centennial Spring Lake Park, is now a finalist. Stella Retram did not make it as a finalist, but both very, very good players.
I was just going to say that.
And so many great players we get to watch, and there's a number of them on the Cardinals or on the Bluebirds that we have watched, and it'll be sad to no longer see them in the lineup.
Yeah, especially over the amount of years that they've been able to play varsity. Yeah. Well, as we talked about over the last few weeks, the wrestling team has been absolutely decimated by injuries this season. The Cardinals were able to put together enough of a lineup to participate in last week's section tournament, but they lacked the depth and experience to be truly competitive. They started as the 6th seed facing the 3rd-seeded Anoka Tornadoes. It's not the team he was expecting to have 4 sections, but Coach Adams leading his young men into the battle nonetheless. Cardinals were only able to win 2 matches, and it's the 2 veterans that have been able to stay healthy all year. Jack Bridenstine with a pin of Owen Rode in the second period at 1:13. I think it's Owen Rhodey. Then at 1:60, junior captain Carter Skradsky throws a left side headlock and takes Anoka's Isaiah Gunderson straight to his back. He'll get the pin midway through the third, and the Cardinals had 2 forfeits on their way to a 66-12 loss. And Joe, yeah, definitely not the team that Coach Adams and Coach Tronson have expected
not even a little.
at the beginning of the year, and nonetheless, where it ended up for them with the amount of injuries that they've had.
Well, and we talked about it in the last couple of weeks. They've had matches where they had to forfeit 4 and 5 spots. They were able to get 10 of the 12 spots filled, or 12 of the 14 spots filled, but a lot of names you would not be familiar with. Guys that were expected to be on a JV level all season. They're just kind of thrown into the fire, especially against a very good team, which you're always going to see in Section 7 3A. And Anoka was the number 3 seed, but they weren't going to let anybody stop them. They beat number 2 seeded Andover in the semifinals, and then knocked off a number 1 seed in Forest Lake with a pin to win at heavyweight. They came from behind and won that to represent Section 7 AA or AAA at the state tournament. So you lost to the best.
You did. Congrats to them.
And now you turn your focus to the individual tournament at the end of this week. You got Bridenstine and Skradsky, who have had great seasons all year long. You looked at it at the beginning of the season. You had Hunter Allen. You had Wells, Kenny Wells. You had Hayden Skillings as your heavyweight. Those were 3 guys that you expected to be contenders for a possible spot at state, and they're out of the lineup due to injuries. Very, very unfortunate.
It really tests your depth and how much some of your younger guys can step up, and when you're missing those kind of veterans, it makes it difficult.
Yeah, it's not just the veterans, it's the heart of the lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the gymnastics team also had its section tournament last week, and they too have been hampered by injuries all season. The Cardinals weren't able to qualify anyone for state this year, but a couple of their senior leaders went out on a high note. Some of the younger members showed the promise of the future. Cecilia Arilli is one of the Cardinals' 5 seniors and has been a top performer for the team her whole career. This vault helped her to a 29th place finish with an 8.275. Fellow senior Ada Drummy has led the team in almost every event at almost every meet all season, and that didn't stop for sections. She finished 25th in the vault with an 8.475. Drummy was the Cardinals' top finisher on the bars at sections as well. This routine gets her a 7.250. Drummy finishes her career with an 18th place finish in the all-around at sections with a 29.650. Freshman Callie Barker returned to the lineup just in time for sections, and she has an immediate impact. Barker posted team best scores both on the beam and on the floor. Her strong landing on the dismount helps her secure 29th place with a 7.125 on the beam. And then on the floor, she'll grab that same 29th place in the section with a 7.550. Barker finishes 20th in the section in the all-around with a 28.60.
Well, congrats to those athletes that finished their career, their gymnastic careers. So, certainly they've had a lot to look back upon on their careers. But now it's some of the younger kids going to be able to step up.
Well, and they're certainly hoping that some of the girls they were able to add this season have enjoyed it enough and have shown they've definitely shown their progress according to the emails I've received from Coach Diane Habel, but hopes they stick with it, gain some additional skills over the summer, and can help get this team back to being in those 120s and 130s.
Let's hope so.
On a regular basis. Nordic ski team had state tournament last week, and we talked about it. 5 athletes for the Cardinals heading to the state championships. Aaron Casey finished 32nd place in the boys' pursuit. He was 38th after the Classic, but a strong 24th place finish in the freestyle helped him secure that 32nd place overall. Neither of the sprint teams was able to advance past their qualifying heat. Albie Ludwig and Lachlan Demmer finished 6th place in their meet in just not even a full tick over 16 minutes. And then Ruby Demmer and Stella Bone were also in 6th place in their heat, 16:33 and change for their time. And congratulations to all of them
absolutely.
For getting to the state tournament. Aaron Casey, the pursuit, is the only senior of those 5. Boys basketball team will wrap up the regular season this week. Or no, they've got 2 more weeks. Girls wrap up the regular season this week. Last week, the boys were hosting Maple Grove they were at Maple Grove. I'm getting it all wrong on every turn. They did face Maple Grove on somebody's court on Tuesday last week. Pretty sure.
Yeah, it was at Maple Grove
because the girls were here. We have video
Correct.
of it. We'll see that in just a moment. They were hoping they were home. They might have left their offense on the bedside table. Lowest offensive output of the season for the Coon Rapids Cardinals as they lose 68-31. Nobody in double digits. Connor Jordan leading the way with 7 points. Jackson Young right behind with 6.
Well, the Cardinals were back home on Friday night, but facing an even tougher opponent, the red-hot Andover Huskies. The Huskies had won 9 straight games. They're second in the conference and sit atop the 7-4A standings. Not an easy opponent to face when you're trying to end your own 6-game losing streak. Cardinals alum Jeremy Habel looking to lead his team to his 5th straight win over his alma mater. Close game early as the Cardinals keeping pace with the section leaders. Jerry Freeman with a 3-pointer in the corner, who was one of 3 guys with team-high 14 points. Freeman again does the work and hands off to Jeremy Hetwer, who hits the little runner jump shot. Hetwer also had 14 points on the net. There's a really good player over on the other side, a couple of them, as a matter of fact. Ben Kopetsky always seems to shine against the Cards. He had himself another big game on Friday. Great control on the baseline drive. Huskies in front by 3. Cardinals did a nice job of keeping them from getting too far out front. Tegan Plum and Tate hit a couple of big 3-pointers in the first half to keep Coon Rapids within striking distance. He also had 14 points. He also had 14, but Andover went up by 9 by the half. And the pull away in the second, Sam Masungo punches this one free, then gets the pass for the breakaway. He had 19 points for the Huskies. But it's Kopetsky that provides the real knockout punches. He just pulls up for a long 3 right here. Nothing to it. And he can take it to the hole just as easily, slashing through the defense. He puts up 35 points as the Huskies run away with a 99-65 win.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, Kopetsky and Masungu, and it has been over there for the last couple of years. And talking to Coach O earlier this season in one interaction, he talked about the younger guys on that team, and he said, I was really looking forward to getting rid of those 2.
Yeah.
And they've got a couple of guys behind them that are going to pick up right where they left off. So Andover looking very strong. Last couple weeks of the regular season, they are the number 1 ranked team in the section as of today.
They're awfully good.
And I don't know that anyone's going to be able to knock them off. The schedule for Coon Rapids is actually kind of fortuitous. They have 4 games remaining, all against other teams in the bottom half of the Northwest Suburban standings. It starts on Tuesday with a visit from Centennial, who is a half game behind Coon Rapids in both the conference and the section standings. And then they will host Rogers on Thursday. And Howie,
we'll be there for both of them,
weather permitting.
I was going to say, providing the Snow-Nami doesn't have a say in it.
That's normally a phrase we reserve for the spring season, that weather permitting, of course. We may have to throw it out this week with what they have been telling us. The girls basketball team, as I mentioned earlier, will wrap up the regular season this week. Last week started with a visit from conference-leading Maple Grove on Wednesday. Crimson were undefeated in the Northwest Suburban and came in riding a 13-game winning streak. Cardinals were held to a season-low 18 points in the first meeting with Maple Grove, so they knew they would be in for another incredibly tough test. Cardinals playing from behind all night, but never giving up the fight. Casey Beck with a strong drive to the rim. She had a team-high 8 points against the Crimson. Great little give and go. Caitlin Green's layup won't fall though. Good position and great fight from Kaylee Bierman at the back door. She had 6 points. Cardinals had 13 different girls score on Wednesday night. But the Crimson never let the Cardinals threaten their lead. Good read by Kennedy Click. Gets the steal. Finishes with a pretty spin back to her left. She was one of 4 players in double digits for the Crimson. Cardinals able to have one of their best offensive outputs in weeks. Sophia Smith hits a 3-pointer right there. They had more points in the first half than they did in the entire first game against Maple Grove. Perimeting prowess from the other side, Casey Beck using the glass, but just too much on the other end. Maple Grove ran away in the second half. Kate Holmquist finished on the fast break and transition again. Claire Stern finishes with a layup. Crimson up 50-21 at the half and on their way to an 89-41 win.
Yeah, as tough a game as that was, nice to see the Cardinals offense doing a little bit better than they have in the past number of games. 41 points for them. It's a good output, and those are things to build on as this as the season's going to wind down. They're going to obviously have a tough draw in the section, but these are things to build on for next season as well.
Well, 2 games remaining, and again, they play Centennial and Rogers, both on the road. Centennial is one of the top teams in the conference and the section.
Yes.
Yeah, a different story with the boys and girls programs over there. That could be a first-round matchup for Coon Rapids at Centennial. They might find themselves right back there for the first round of the playoffs. But we should be there wherever they should be, as long as they're this side of Cloquet.
Yeah, if they're not in Duluth.
That's about the only place in the section I think that we may not make it. Now for the boys hockey, they added Cloquet, and there's 3 Duluth teams in their section now. But we will be at boys basketball on Tuesday against Centennial, and at boys basketball on Thursday against Rogers, and girls basketball playoffs next Wednesday, March the 1st, and like I said, most likely at Centennial.
Yeah, that's the way it shakes up now at this point anyway, but you never know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens if anything changes in those seedings over the last week of the regular season, and of course the coaches have the final say in their vote. But that is going to be the final say for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Saying good night.